Welcome back to Lost Odyssey. Alright, let's continue exploring Grand Staff. Let's see what's in here. And yeah, by touching one of these things, you get automatically pulled into a battle that you can't even run away from. And it's
fun.
And it's one of these things.
Larvae, because I guess the default process is that they were inside those containers, those chambers, and you essentially free them.
Mm-hmm. We freed all the Genova experiments.
Just to remind you that this is endgame.
Alright. Let's take care of this. Because, like I said, you can't run away from these battles, so you have to kill it. There we are.
Very nice.
Christmas. That sounds like someone's copyright-friendly version of Christmas.
Christmas is actually the name of the band that sings the South Park theme.
It's actually based on a geometrical figure with the prism.
Mm-hmm. Going down to Ura, gonna have myself a time.
Past Christmas till you die if it kills us.
I guess you've never seen the Pollyanna live-action movie, haven't you, Liz?
No, I haven't.
How much of the actual story do you know?
Nothing really.
One of the things that Pollyanna does, because the entire point is that she brings back, you know, joy and light to a community where she goes to live in. One of the things she does is to, you know, cheer up a grumpy old man that stays in his home all the time by basically using tricks of light to shine on the actual prisms that adorn his chandeliers, stuff like that.
Yeah, the basic gist of it is this thing is very resistant to magic, so you're better off relying on Kaim and Seth to take care of these beasts in particular.
I mean, magic still does a decent enough of a damage that, you know, having your casters actually hit physically.
No, true. We can just use force use, I guess.
I would say that, you know, okay, compared to Family 10 had managed to, you know, not perfect it, but, you know, improve the traditional type of, you know, turn-based system with a system that was similar to Breath of Fire 4 on the PS1. The idea that you control the entire party, technically, and at any point you can skip your turn by switching into another player, you know, giving a layer of tactical advantage to what you can decide. Well, instead this one tries to be a bit more on the old school mentality where, you know, the rest of the party stays on the bench and you have to change it, you know, in between. Then again, even later Final Fantasies, you know, like 13 did not, you know, adopt that mechanic. Again, you know, as a reminder, the first 13 went even backward by having the staple of, you know, if the leader dies, the entire party gets KO'd.
Mm-hmm.
But of course.
Even though that doesn't make a lick of sense.
No, like I said, I think I mentioned during our, you know, rerun of that, it makes sense in most of the SMT games where it appears, because the entire point of those is that you, the human, are the only human players and you control a party of demons, so if you get killed, basically it's the equivalent of a Pokemon trainer that gets actually killed, so his beast gets freed. You know,
I'm guessing their logic...
Control.
I'm guessing their logic with 13 was that the idea is that the leader is supposed to represent the party as a whole, you know, since, you run around with one person mainly in the field and all that jazz, essentially, so they figured, well, shouldn't that person, of course, represent the whole party? I mean, it's dumb, but that's my best guess as to why they reasoned.
That's a nice observation, Jova. Counterpoint, you know, a lot of times, you know, it doesn't really feel like it. Like, for example, Paurum as a whole as entire sequences, for example, where you're controlling Fang and Lightning, where it really feels as if, you know...
I mean,
the
Hope and
leader-
Lightning.
Well, no, in different places.
Oh, wow, okay, no, I thought you were talking about that bit where...
At the beginning, sure, but you know,
Yeah,
later
yeah,
on as
yeah.
it evolves. For example, you know, Fang and Lightning, and it feels as if, you know, if Lightning, which is the leader at that point, dies, Fang should be able to still carry the team, you know, defeat the enemies and then revive Lightning. Same goes for the sequence where Snow comes to help Hope, and Hope is the leader, sure. He's the most fragile, but as a result, Snow feels like the one that should be tanky enough to actually handle the situation and then revive in case, you know, in case Hope goes down. It really is just a matter of arbitrary, you know, bad programming.
Yep.
Again, it's just one of many problems with that game and arguably that era of Square.
The detection for the...
You have to understand,
ladder.
that's the problem. Like,
Behold, the immortal Kaim. He'll never die, but he sucks at climbing ladders.
yeah, basically. Again, it's hard to explain if you don't actually play the game yourself. But again, like you have to be in a specific spot for the game to have the climb prompt show up. Because again, there's just something weird about the hit detection on things.
Classic
I get what
Resident
you
Evil
mean. I've
players
seen some
understand these
games
kind of
be-
things.
Yeah, like honestly, I've seen other games be weird about this sort of stuff. It doesn't make it okay, but I get where you're coming.
Yeah, but those games were on the PS1. This is a 2008 Xbox 360 game. You'd think by this point we'd be over this.
Like, I'm wondering if, like, due to the intricacies of this new and improved look and stuff, they had issues with that. I wouldn't
No, that's
know. I
just a
wasn't
matter.
on the
That's
team.
a matter of placing the hit detection
Fuck.
on the ground towards
Oh
the.
no! Wait! They made it
Remember,
so you can fall off.
That's what the steam comes from. It doesn't damage you, but it pushes you off.
In this case, it was just me who slipped.
Also,
No,
Lives,
Looks
that's
like Pedro just went over to the left on that one.
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
Lives. That's actually a step ladder.
Yeah.
No, it isn't.
What's the difference?
I know, there is a big difference actually. A step ladder is one of those things where it unfolds and you can put it on the ground and balance it. That's just a regular static ladder.
You heard it from there, folks. Phoenix was the one who was right the whole time.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, Maya was wrong.
Well, I get the idea that's the entire point of a joke because, you know, country bumpkin, so...
The funny thing, though, is that in
Well, the
Apollo
funniest-
Justice...
So I go, wait,
Okay,
so I go, wait a minute.
hold on, Lips. The funny thing, though, is like, well, in that regard, then, what's Apollo's excuse? Because in Apollo Justice, it's Trucy that argues for the stepladder thing, where it's Apollo who argues against it.
Although, I mean, you said that, that she's a country bumpkin. So why was she so annoyed that Max was a country bumpkin when that bit came up in case 2-3?
Okay, first might have been different flavor of country bumpkin. Second, might have been a translation thing.
Alright, to make sure this is...
As far as I know, that's not so much
Very
a translation
slowly.
thing.
Yes, let's walk.
Well,
Yeah.
God, you're immortal. If you fall off, you'll break all your bones.
Just
But
because
then
you're
you
immortal
can-
doesn't mean you shouldn't watch your step. That's your
Sorry.
PSA for
so-
the day, kids.
So we're following Captain Scarlet logic. He's immortal, yet he can still feel the pain.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, as far as I know, that wasn't a translation error since I believe he's from Kansai in the original case. And Kansai is pretty much Japan's equivalent to the South. I forget what's their equivalent to the North because I know whenever
Well, that would
dubs
be
usually
Hokkaido, but they
yeah,
normal-
Hokkaido.
The only major stereotypes that they have there is that there is an actual, ethnically different community there, but
And-
they don't. Japan normally in fiction media doesn't talk much about
There's
that
also
out of
there-
respect.
There's also the stereotypical accents, like remember in the Japanese version in Okuni, Drippy, the fairies have a very typical Osaka accent.
It might be a difference, drove also of the idea of, are you from the center of a town or from the outskirts? So that in itself might constitute a difference.
I mainly bring it up because, of course, for Usually for people from Kansai, in the English dubs, they tend to get southern accents. For people from Hokkaido, though, they actually give them, I think, Minnesotan accents instead. Matching with the whole southern versus northern accents, which is actually a pretty neat touch. Most notably in the anime, Hokkaido gals are super adorable.
Yeah. And according to Honeywood and his team, if it's Osaka, go for a Welsh accent.
At the very least, it lives they mostly went to that instead of actually going through the northern and southern, accents from the actual England, because there's a indie game that came out recently, which is called Thank Goodness We Are Here, which is all about northern England, accents and similar, and it's quite the doozy.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I put in a lot more effort into terms of localizing British things than most stuff, because like I said before, if ever a British character is in a piece of media not made by Britain, 9 times out of 10 it just tends to be someone either with a posh accent or a generic Cockney gangstery accent.
The absolute peak of that recently is Xenoblade Chronicles 3, where there's an entire cutscene again. Sorry, go on.
Well, Dubs, you've already told me that Christopher Miller's Leighton accent is just generic Brit. What about what's Maria Darling's accent for Luke?
London.
Okay.
London's Cockney, but it's not gangster Cockney.
Yeah. What about? She's not British, but she voices Amy. What would you say Lana Minella is going for when she voices Amy?
Again, generic Brit like Chris's.
Okay.
So, Cockney, but not gangster Cockney. Isn't that Australian, but with extra steps?
Okay.
That's grossly misunderstanding that.
So basically what you're telling me is that the moral of the story is, if you don't know what to do, just go for generic Brit. That's the safest option.
Because, I can make the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 reference another time. Basically, Joe, if you remember, Australia was a penal colony where the British sent all of their prisoners, and back then, what they constituted as prisoner was, people from Wales, Ireland, and Scotland that we don't like, basically. So it's mostly out of them that the accent came from.
Which is kind of ironic given how, they try to claim, they're not really Brits, even though they technically are in that sense. Even House made a joke about that.
Well, at the end, the point is that at the end of the day, everyone in Australia loses one way or another. How sad.
God, especially with those price conversion rates. Youch.
Yeah.
But anyway, again, the peak of...
Hold on, Teo. I'm still in a dream, lost on the sea.
Jansen, this is the 7th time you've been saying that when we went upstairs.
Jansen would totally be the one to sing while they're climbing like that.
Yes, you're saying earlier, Teo?
No, like I said, the peak of, British difference, in dialogue or pronunciation or something comes to a point in one specific cutscene in Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Again, it requires a lot of context, but to summarize, the characters are, super thirsty and not as a literal way, not that they're horny. They need water, so they actually finally reach an oasis, and you have, because you have 3 or 4 different characters with different accents, you get 4 different instances of the pronunciation of the word water, used by them. Like, one of them is water, and the more, traditional American water.
Yeah.
Dubs, you were mentioning Captain Scarlet earlier, now you're making me think of what would... Gongora is already over the top enough as he is. I imagine him as a Captain Scarlet puppet.
Captain Scarlet...
He kinda is like of a villain that Trey Metal would have created for Team America purposes.
Yeah, basically.
Captain Scarlet puppets, with some exceptions, weren't the most expressive ones. So the voice actor would really have to bring his or her A game.
Yeah. Did they ever? I know from the episodes we saw, we never really saw anyone overact too much. I'm curious, were there bits where somebody could be screaming loud, and obviously the puppets could only move so much, but Was it
Yeah.
a case where like the voice was plus 11?
I would say plus 11, but I mean, for the most part, it's just normal voice acting. Because what they had to do was how it worked was I think it's because they recorded the voice first, then they put that to the puppet. I'm not too sure.
Honestly, it kind of makes sense as a methodology, because you have a field of reference instead of, having to adapt the other way around.
Basically. Here's I have. Here's the thing. Well, for as much as we've seen a lot of people trying to start a vindication by history movement for 13, I have yet to hear a single good argument for having the party leader die and therefore the entire party dies. Again, that is more understandable in an action RPG, but in a turn-based RPG, it makes no sense to.
I mean, they even dropped that for 13.2, so even the devs admitted
again, even the
I swear, 13.2 as a whole just really feels like a big apology letter for 13. While some would argue it is arguably worse than 13.
Oh, well, here's the thing, Jova. Like the thing about 13.2's design is that it's very like Brandon put it in his video, it's very reactionary in the way it's designed. Like the developers, instead of just sitting down and just making what would be a good game according to themselves, the developers just made their decisions based on what they thought people wanted, basically.
The problem was, with it being as reactionary, they clearly did not have the budget to make what would feel like a good sequel. Like, I've said it before, but I'll say it again. One thing that can really turn me off of a sequel is when its budget is so low compared to the first one that it ends up turning out a product that, in some regards, doesn't even feel like it's in the same universe.
So
which I guess is ironic, given the fact that 13.2 reuses so many assets that I legit thought we were back in old locations from the first game.
The video game equivalent of a direct-to-video sequel.
I can tell you, I forgot sorry, go on.
Mind you, direct-to-video sequels can actually be good. Even Disney showed that, so that is not an excuse for 13.2 turning out as bad as it did. Even if they had a limited bout of budget, they could have at least given us better gameplay and a better story.
Yes, too.
I think I did mention when we recorded that. I can tell you that, again, just strictly compared to this first game, mind you, I had more fun in playing strictly for the gameplay in terms of 13.2, technically.
Until the end, though.
Well, like I said, Jova, the thing that instead pisses me off is that I get to the end of the game, and the game basically tells me that everything I did was pointless anyway.
Yeah.
Sure, on an arcade level, I can still properly play it and enjoy the quote-unquote enjoy the gameplay in its own right, potentially. But again, since it's also a Final Fantasy game, I want to at least give some degree of, acknowledgement to the story. And unfortunately, the story tells me that I'm a moron.
Yeah.
But
no,
let's
it's not.
be honest. Final Fantasy is integral with its story as well. So
remember,
I can definitely get that rubbing you the wrong way.
Remember, when Sakaguchi was asked what game he wanted to make as, what was at the time the final attempt by Squaresoft to before they declared bankruptcy, and Sakaguchi's quote exactly was, and I quote, "I don't think I have what it takes to make a good action game. I think I'm better at telling a story." Storytelling has always been at the crux of Final Fantasy's identity from the very beginning.
For
was this
reference,
preceding when they made 7?
Well, no, he did mention when they made 1.
No, when they made 1.
Okay.
The game that they did before that was King's Knight.
Yeah.
It was an action game.
Remember, at the time, Squaresoft was about to go bankrupt, and this game, Final Fantasy, was going to be their last hope.
Swan song.
That's literally also the story for 7. Squaresoft
Yeah.
financially, and 7 ended up saving them. That's why I confused the two stories.
No, but when it comes to Sakaguchi, that's his iconic thing, because when they asked him what game he wanted to make, that's what he said. I don't think I have what it takes to make a good action game. I think I'm better at telling a story. So that's why he made an RPG, right? Because that's why, again, storytelling is incredibly important to the series as a whole. Yes, you can potentially enjoy a Final Fantasy game purely on gameplay alone, I guess it's possible, but it shouldn't really have to be that way because with a Final Fantasy without storytelling, like that's just, I mean,
You know, I'm actually curious. We talk a lot about Squaresoft's career, you know, after or right before they made Final Fantasy, but what was the career that preceded Final Fantasy? You know,
Throw everything at the wall and see what it sticks.
yep.
Oh, so that was their case from birth.
Basically.
Again, remember, King's Knight was a thing which was essentially an action RPG that played like an actual shooter, believe it or not.
Well,
I mean, like a space shooter, basically.
That's the thing.
Because you control your characters and shoot things with projectiles.
It boils down to this, Joe. But like nowadays, what people know Square Enix for RPGs, obviously. But before Final Fantasy, they had no identity of their own. They basically didn't really have any strong hits outside of maybe Ridge Racer.
Ridge Racer.
Sorry, Rad Racer. Sorry, I missed it.
Ridge Racer was an anchor, but yes, they did have their racing AP.
Rad Racer was successful in America, but it was still not enough to keep the company afloat. They needed some big domestic hit.
So is it like a case where pretty much right out of the gate they started floundering, or did they at least have a big hit at the start?
Yeah, we're about to get correct.
There you go. Now time to finally fight his cronies.
Whatever you say, Legion. Actually, that does make me wonder, how are we gonna fight Gongora? Because last time we tried doing that...
We'll need to worry about that when we get to him.
We'll get to him, we'll see.
It's a Skydra, you don't know!
No, it's the Terminator warping in from the future! Well, up in the sky we go, I guess.
While the rest of Grand Staff gets dropped in the ocean.
So basically this is the game.
Ways, but okay.
So yeah, basically this Grand Staff seems like is gonna be sacrificed for... basically this Grand Staff was apparently kind of a trap of sorts to try to kill us.
Oops, well I guess he didn't think we'd be at this part already.
Fortunately, yeah, the white boa is there too.
Fly?
No. Well, remember, Joe, Grand Staff...
It's just that big.
It's just that
Grand
big.
Staff is sinking right now.
So basically, we're going to take the fight against the things here in the white boa, basically.
Oh, never mind. I thought we were on the part that was flying up. I didn't know we were on the part that was sinking.
Basically, again, the Grand Staff is now levitating. The more important part of Grand Staff is levitating, while the base has been left behind.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess Legion's saying when they said we shall protect him, they meant we'll just sink you. Oh. Crud, they're here.
Alright, so that's where we'll be having our boss battle.
I love it, even for these re-release, this section has the frame rate tanked for ridiculous degree.
Bunch of crap.
Huh?
Sounds to me like
Eh.
he's just shooting his mouth off.
Well, of course, that's what all megalomaniacs in RPGs who claim to be gods do.
Remember, Jova, this is the battlefield that you get also when fighting Gongora the first time. I can't believe it when Sakaguchi managed to make a menacing boss theme that includes the cowbell as an instrument.
So you're telling me Christopher Walken was the big bad all along?
Well, sure, I can believe that.
That can work.
You know what?
Christopher Walken as Gongora. Sure.
You know what? Christopher Walken as a Final Fantasy big bad. Make it happen, Square.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you've seen June Part 2, but it's kind of sort
Yeah,
of...
if anything, it would be the ideal candidate for Emperor Gestalt from 6, I guess. Basically, Jova, Dune Part 2 actually has Christopher Walken as the Space Emperor. No, really.
Oh my!
I can assure you, he plays the role completely straight and it works. It's not supposed to be a comedy and there's no real major alarm moments.
You know what? That's fair. I've seen him do serious with Sleepy Hollow.
Leave it to Denis Villeneuve to actually manage to make work with him.
Wow.
Alright, so...
All that power Gongora gave you, and 4 of you are already down.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Nope.
Remember, some of them are immune to that.
How can you tell when it's a case of them being immune or just a case of them dodging, since it always says miss?
Oh, well, in this case, like, you can just assume that's the case at all times.
I think it's a case where, okay, I don't remember if the game gives you a tool for, analyze your opponent like the Libra spell, but I'm pretty sure there is something equivalent to that. Maybe an accessory that gives you
by default,
that ability.
I forgot, because by default you can see the enemy's HP, like so.
I do find it weird that they put miss for everything, though. Like, again, if it were me, I'd say miss for if they dodged it, and like immune for if they can just withstand the attack.
Some RPGs do that, unfortunately. All right. Basically, there you go. Physical attacks don't work either.
Oh, how to deal with this last one?
Nefarious Black Saint.
Just in case you needed to know that he's evil.
Yeah.
Of course.
Nope. Not even with a perfect. As in, he's trying to petrify us. He's going to try to petrify us. So this doesn't work either. Okay. What element should we try next? Hold on, I think I'm gonna... Yeah, okay. Oh yeah, I forgot. I think, if I remember correctly...
It's just one of those bosses that just doesn't get hit.
No, the idea is that you have to find a specific weakness, basically, like with the others.
If I recall correctly, that's how it worked when we were fighting them as Gongora.
Yeah, to a lesser extent, yes. That tutorial battle was a low-key way of tutorializing you for this one, basically.
Cute.
I don't remember if we're vulnerable to instant death.
Probably.
Usually,
well, no, it's a boss battle tale, so probably yes.
Well, because again, RPGs usually tend to have these, this cardinal rule of having the bosses invulnerable to most debuffs. Not all of them, but most of them at the very least. So that would probably not be the first thought that you have.
So let me get this straight.
Physical fire, I think.
No, that was force use, though, too. Force use is physical damage as in form of spell. So I can't attack physically with Kaim and Seth, but I can use force use? Weird, but whatever.
Let's follow Grand Staff. Seth, give us maximum speed.
Everybody, get to the bridge! Now!
The equivalent of the Ruin spell from 13, basically. Look! A CGI cutscene!
Oh no!
Unlimited power!
Let's fly into it.
What the hell is that?
What was that delivery, Jensen? What the hell is that?
What's the deal with that?
It sounded like he was supposed to voice for Tails instead of Knuckles for a second.
Oh my.
Mirrors, they're behind the stars.
They'll burn up. So that's what Gongara's aiming to do. Destroy the mirrors. What'll he do then? Blow the stars away?
He's a fool. If he does that, he'll be the one blown away.
Well, he's immortal, Seth.
We have to figure out what he wants.
That's a good point.
See there? That sounds like you're finally talking some sense.
Yes, as we've seen, Tolton has grown a spine since he even saved Sed.
Mm-hmm. Alright.
So, I guess we use the Nautilus
So-
to place him up into the sky now?
So, I wonder if I have to go to that big, blinking purple spot in the map.
Nah. Go do some side quests first.
So yeah,
I'll wait patiently for you.
for convenience sake, well, technically I can do that, yes. But yeah, for convenience sake, the Gongora is in the center of the map, and there's like that blinking purplish thingy to tell you exactly where you're supposed to go, basically. All right. So if I remember correctly, yeah, we're going to basically just pick a port that's close to that. And if I remember correctly, I'm going to. Oh yeah.
Because considering it's there at the center, if I recall correctly, you either to jump or submerge with the Nautilus.
Yeah, basically what you said. Yeah, but first I need to go save, so might as well go to a place where I can find a save point. So here we are.
So, in the next part, we continue our fight towards Gongora.
Yes, in the next part we explore the second Grand Staff. So
yeah.
see ya.
See you then.